chairperson or any delegated member of that particular committee, I redirect the matter to the House Business Committee for rescheduling. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, as per your direction, there is a supplementary order paper. Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
No communication from the chair.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Under this order, there is a paper by Honorable Elijah Mwaginyaga, the leader of the majority party.
Honorable Elijah Mwaginyaga. Honorable Ibrahim Mani Namwangi, Minority Whip on behalf of Majority Leader, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Majority Leader, I do table a letter on budget adjustment under PFM Act 2012. Section 135, forwarded by Finance, Economic and Planning and ICT CCM Honorable Mary Kamande, and I do table.
The letter is duly tabled. I refer the letter to the Committee on Budget and Appropriations. Chairperson, how many days do you need to report back to the House? Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation, Honorable Isaac Kungo. The letter that has been duly tabled, how many days do you need to report back to the House?
Honorable Speaker, I want to see a copy, just a minute. Okay, Honorable Speaker, I don't know. I need a guidance. I don't know how to deal with this letter because I have come across this letter. Because if you look at what is being requested by the CC Finance, it is not within it's not within the law. You look at Section 135 of the PFMA Act, we will tell you that there is no legal within this, but I can say that you can give us 2 weeks, or let me say 7 days. We look at it, we will respond, but I know whatever they are requesting might have some legal problem or legal issues.
Very well. 7 days. Clerk, note that in the business tracker, and we proceed. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, motions and bills. Under this order, there is a motion by Honorable Simon Bogomboro, the Chairperson, Committee on Public Accounts and Public Works, Roads, Transport, Housing and Energy.
Honorable Simon Bogoburu, Chairperson, Committee on Public Works, Roads, Transport, Housing and Energy. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'm moving a motion on report on consideration of the budget implementation report for the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, Housing and Energy for the financial year 23-24. The report was tabled on the 27th of January 2024 at 2:30 p.m. So I'll directly go to the moving. I'll go to acknowledgement. This is acknowledging that it is at a committee at this house. The executive summary is already known by members of this house, Mr. Speaker, because it clearly, or the article explains, the act explains how it was built, the committee is built up. The background of the committee is simply something that is known. On the methodology, we know that at any one time, a sectoral committee is issued with oversight. Our work is to engage the department, go for site visits, and finally write a report, which was done. So I will not read the methodology. It is there in the report, and I'm sure it is in the gadget. So I'll zero in directly to where we have the committee observation. Mr. Speaker, this one we are overlooking what we did in 2023-2024, so that it can be the informative of 2025. This is a report that ought to have been tabled there before, but due to issues, recesses, pull and push here and there, departmental failure to project the information, that is where we are here. But it's good because it is going to remain an article or an item of the House in where in future anybody can go and consult. So, Mr. Speaker, I'll go to the committee of observation, that is 2.1, that is page 11, on procurement of the project. Mr. Speaker, from the information given by the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, Housing and Energy, all the projects were procured in good time, apart from a few which had issues on site identification. The committee sought for the report on procurement, which was responded to on the 14th May of 2024. The committee observed that improvements on earlier procurement compared to the past years, which had contributed to higher absorption of the collection. Mr. Speaker, what we observed, apart from one item program that was not procured anywhere when we went to the certain ward, and I can zero in, it was Gatimu, it was the only program that was not procured from the roads department in that year. As per the 14th of May of 2024, all of them had been procured. It is only one that brought push and pull in where it was not identified where the program was, and I believe it was sorted out there later. The summary therein is the table there is giving the percentages of how they had behaved. And you can see they had by May 24th, they had said 94 had been procured. That was 48%. Ongoing was 34. Evaluation point was at 24. Bid response 28. Sourcing was 10. It was only one that has not been responded to. And I've mentioned, I don't know what happened about the same, but I think it was sorted out. Mr. Speaker, procurement is a process. Anywhere, the stages mentioned there, we have the completed, we have the complete, we have the ongoing, they have them that have been fruited. That was the tabulation that we gave. Then we go to contracted road work. The report submitted by the department indicated that, because it is now history, indicated that the project procured and awarded were complete within the year. Some completed projects were not paid for the ongoing, and the ongoing delayed disbursement from the funds from the exchequer. Mr. Speaker, you note that before the closure of the year, because now it is history, before the closure of the year, Roads Department procured everything. There are them that were paid, there were them that were finished, but they were not paid because we had a delay of the exchequer. Remember, in the year we are reviewing, that is last year, 2023-2024, our county or counties never received the June allocation. Anywhere programs were finished, but they were not, money never came. It only came after the crossover of the year. That is the financial year that is in June. Meaning some of them were completed and not paid, which were later paid, because I'm saying this is history, which were later paid on pending bills that were articulated in this financial year, that is 24-25, and some of them are waiting to be enshrined in the oncoming or the forthcoming supplementary budget. On the issue of county machinery, the committee noted that the roads maintenance program using the in-house machineries was becoming expensive owing to escalating cost of repair and maintenance. Mr. Speaker, I know you are a member of the committee, and we are trying to weigh out that our machinery are becoming obsolete. Remembering that we are using case machineries, and they are now 7 years of approximately 5 to 6 years old. They are becoming obsolete, and we noted that the cost of and maintenance was becoming high. We recommended to the department to enshrine new machines in this financial year, which I'm sure that in this financial year budget we have a few machines. I think we have 50 million. Anyway, we are going to buy a backhoe, a repass, and a few things. That is what we articulated, and we gave the informative to the department. I'm saying because it is an outlook paper, because this report is outlook of a past year. That is why I'm bringing it to the present, Mr. Speaker. If you go there, you are going to see the cost. The table down there in page 12, you are going to see by the 6th, the cost of August, the cost was tabulated. You can see the tires that had been bought spent 2.9. You go to the tabulation there, you can see a grader that has spent 96,000. It's a big table because it is showing all the county machineries, one after the other. We have Everything that was procured is mentioned there. So it's a table that is trying to explain how the county machinery was explained. And I call members to go through the same thing, because you can see we have case filters, there are 8. So it's a big table that is explaining all the county machineries up to number page 14, 15, still is a continuation of the same up to number 16. That is an explanation of how they spent maintenance and repair money. That was totaling to 29.22, that is with the inclusive of the servicing and everything. If you see an amount of 229, almost that million, Mr. Speaker, that is why we are saying it is almost now becoming uneconomical to service the machineries that we have, because you can note that 30 million is becoming higher. This one is necessarily resulting from the issue of the machineries becoming obsolete. So we advised the committee, the department, if they are able to a little bit slowly by slowly start improving the machinery, it would be better, because the depreciation is still coming in. We go to budget absorption. And according to the control of budget, the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, that is for that year, had an allocation of 1.2 billion and 1 million for the recurring expenditure. The recurring expenditure was spent to 99% for the financial year 23-24. The development expenditure was spent at 65%, which was the highest development expenditure among the departments. No, you know, Mr. Speaker, having spent 65% of development expenditure, noting that the exchequer never released the money for that for June in that year, which was of course released later when the IFMIS was not working. You note that 65%, Mr. Speaker, is very high. And you note it was the department that absorbed the highest amount, so we commend them, but still tell them to pull up their socks in this financial year, that is 24-25, to make sure that they are able to go at least to 70. And if all the exchequer money is going to be released from the national government, which I highly doubt, Mr. Speaker, sorry for the same, they should be heading to 90, because if it was released, we would have been able to achieve that. Down there, we have the tabulation of exactly what I've mentioned. The 65% is broken into simple segments, in where they are saying what was done in energy, what was done in building, what was done in roads and everything. That is the table they are down in 16. So we go to 17. It is still an explanation of all the department, how they did. I will zero in on energy development. The Directorate the Directorate of Energy exhausted their recurrent budget and recorded a deficit. Why I have mentioned, or why I have articulated that one and read the statement, Mr. Speaker, is that we have noted that we have experienced blackouts in even the governor's office. Reason being, Mr. Speaker, though I have gone up to that point, is because we have an accrual. I understand we have an accrual of 56 million. This county is having, or it owes Kenya Power, as per today, 56 million. Definitely it's tabulated into different segments, so we are going to get floodlights are there, because the department is enshrined or is expected to be solving issues to do with the floodlights or counter-writing and the governor. So the Kenya Power have been very wise this time around. If a floodlight fails in Carampton, they don't go, they put off the flood mast in Carampton, and they hurriedly come to the governor's house, or office rather, and then they come and switch off. I believe that the governor's office have been off for the last 7 months with a bill of over 56 million. So I'm calling them the members of the budget committee led by the chairman, who is in the house, to make sure that in the supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker, they see to it that we enhance or increase this budget. Because I believe, because I had seen the paper that have been tabled today, I'm not explaining the same, he's still rotating on the same, because paying of the bills is a menace in this county. That is why I have responded on that and called into the same human resource performance and challenges. During the implementation period, one of the challenges reported by members of the county assembly was laziness and by some truck drivers and other plant operators, as also reported was misuse of truck, fuel, and drivers. Mr. Speaker, we sat with the department because it is an overlook. I'm reading hurriedly because it's an outlook, because it is history. But it is good because it is going to remain an article of this House, and it is going to inform when we are doing our things in this year. Mr. Speaker, you note that we sat with the department in where we registered our disappointment, in where a truck driver will come at 2 and carry one truck and go away. But I think during this time or this cycle, you note that the work they have already started, something has been done. We can commend the department because something has been done. At least now the in-house working machinery, having sat with them and see the challenges, I think it is kind of now working. Challenges in budget implementation, the department reported the following challenges. Erratic weather hindering implementation of road maintenance and construction occasioned by heavy rains and destroying the already repaired roads. Mr. Speaker, this one we never agreed with them because they have been in Nyandarua for the last 30 years. They don't know the seasons and weathers. Mr. Speaker, from where I stand, I am sure and certain that having been brought up and having been born and brought up in Nyandarua, I am certain that I know. I am not God. I am certain that in the next 1 month, we will be having showers and rains all over Nyandarua. So we told them, don't complain about weather. Procure your department earlier because you know Nyandarua receives short rains in February and heavy rains in March, and it have not changed. So don't expect it to change this year. So we told them, don't complain about the weather, be proactive than the weather itself. Poor road drainage and lack of unclogging of policy. Mr. Speaker, this one was understood. I know there is a motion, there is a bill that is being crafted in where we are going to open roads, in where people have planted and encroached the road and water pathways and everything. You know the story. So we are trying, one member of the said committee, roads, tabled, that is from from Shamata, tabled a motion on the same, and they improve it. They are at the point of preparing a bill that is going to control the logging and all this encroachment and everything. So they also complained about the releasing of the funds by the budget for the budgeted projects. That one is not controllable. We know what is happening in this country, where you give money in July for June and expect people to pay only after the closure of the IFMIS. That is subject for another day and from the top levels. Frequent breakdown of aging fleet. That one we have already mentioned. We have said that case machineries that has lasted for 7 years, working daily, we expect they are aging. So action plan have to be brought down in where we are going to make sure that we have them. Because if there is an OBO program, Mr. Speaker, you can attest that, is that one, in where we can work daily. The fifth one is insufficiency of operations and maintenance budget to support the development budget. Yes, Mr. Speaker, in this one, we kindly understood them. We negotiated with the budget committee, and it was enhanced thanks to the budget committee and even the chair. Mr. Speaker, you can see this department is having $1 billion, 1-point-something billion of development to drive. When you give them a quarter of recurrent, the health department that is having 0.3 billion, you give it half of water, then you are not royal, or rather you are not fair. They complained a lot in where they said that the whole Department of Energy is having 3 workers. So I know it was a little bit enhanced, and I'm pleading with the budget committee that during this financial budgeting year, they still increase more, because if this department fails, 20% or rather 30% of the whole county fails, because our development is usually 3 billion, 1 billion is coming here, so 30% is coming to the same department. So it should be looked into. In a fair eye. The sixth one was insufficient allocation for electricity bill. That one I've mentioned, and that one has occasioned the switching of even the governor's office. But still, we are complaining to the Kenya Power, because we are saying you cannot come to switch off a meter because of another meter, and that is why they are metered separately. Mr. Speaker, you noted what Sakaja did. These people of Kenya Power are becoming notorious. You noted what he did, and we are also planning. Sorry to say so, because I know and I am certain Kenya Power today is owing county government of Nyandarua 40 million of lease. If they don't pay us, then we are not going to pay power. And we are walking high saying that. And if we will be forced to drop their pylons, we know we cannot switch off electricity for them. But we have something to do politically. Recommendations. In view of the above observation, the committee hereby recommends that it was recommending then the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, Housing Energy, under the roads maintenance program, using in-house machinery, that is 5,000, should implement the use of fuel card for each of the approved machineries. Mr. Speaker, you remember, the last sitting we had recommended to them they start improvising use of fuel cards. It has not materialized up to date. They came later, they explained that they have already started it, but the main problem is that money for the whole county is procured wholesomely. So we are not able to maintain the same, but I believe they are still maintaining, they are still trying to make sure that they come up with the same. That is, I'm saying, as per the last meeting we had with them. Number two, the department does provide a schedule of all floodlights per ward and construction of power per ward. Further, that all the elected members consider allocating some funds out of the irreducible minimum for the payment of power bills in the respective wards. Now, this one, Mr. Speaker, we were trying to figure out a ward like Orokarao, Mr. Speaker. If you tell Orokarao ward to pay all the floodlights and masts that are in here, then it cannot work. But we are trying to particulate, because this floodlight does not come. There is a floodlight that originated from the municipality. Municipality should be taking care of that. There's a floodlight that is emanating from the MP. The MP should be taking of the same. There are others that are coming from the national government. They should be able to be doing the same. But now the backlog is all in the county government, which is not possible. It is a subject that should be discussed in future, in where we have even abolished the new construction as a department. We agreed with the committee, both the committee and the department, and we even sent the waziri to go and have a cabinet approval abolishing the new installation of electric-driven mast. Mr. Speaker, there before, Kenya Power never used to follow bill, but in the introduction of the smart meter, this county will be subjected to over 250 million a year for power if all these masts are driven to the latter. So we are trying to think, or as a department, we are discussing on how we can shift from the electric driven to the green energy. The green energy driven masts are costly, but eventually that is where we head, because 2 years expenditure of electricity is enough to introduce solar powered in the whole county. I don't know whether the concept is sinking to the House members, but I know they will be responding to the same. Number three, that the county assembly adopts the proposed policy that therefore all proposed floodlight construction, that one I've already said. Number four, the department formulate and implement a performance management policy for the staff to enhance performance. That one is departmental. Number five, that the terms of engagement on the framework contract hiring. Yes. In number five, we are trying to mention in where we are not able to get a machinery. For instance, currently we are only having one old backhoe. It's a very powerful machine that is used for unclogging drainages during the time of floods and everything, during the collection of litter, during the garbage and everything. This county is having one almost obsolete backhoe. We negotiated with the chairman of budget. I know there is one enshrined in the budget. I know it will be bought. So we are saying, before we come up to the purchase, we come up with a framework of how we can be hiring machineries, because the private contractors are having the machineries at the start of a battle. So there are times that procurement is so tedious and so big, in where the emergency you wanted to sort cannot be sorted. So I know the framework is already there. We have 10 companies that have already been procured, and a little bit we have eased the tension, because at the click of a button, the chief officer can be able to hire machinery and continue. I know that one is working, because this one we are recommending to them there in history. I am sure they have done that one now in the present. That is, we will see it when we will be overlooking this year budget. Number six, that the Budget and Appropriation Committee does consider enhancing the allocation of electricity bill. That one we have negotiated, that one we have said, and I'm very sure that it has already been done. The conclusion, Mr. Speaker, my committee is committed to the task of ensuring that the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, Housing and Energy is working effectively, efficiently, economically, and with transparency. I believe together with other members of this assembly, we can play our oversight role and support the department by ensuring that the policies are in place to regulate operation of the department. It is for this reason that my committee will continue monitoring the
in as the resolutions of this House. Honorable Gashomba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I like to support the report on the consideration of the budget implementation report for the Department of Public Works, Roads, Transport and Housing, Energy for the financial year 2023-2024. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the good work that has been done by the chair together with his committee on the road network. You are aware, Mr. Speaker, I have to agree with him that the machineries that are the in-house machines that we have, actually they are aging. And I believe the time they were bought by the previous regime, it is now about 7 years or so. And Mr. Speaker, and that's the reason why he has alluded on the recurrent expenditure that has been absorbed in terms of repair and maintenance, which was about 29 million for that financial year, 2023-2024. You're aware, Mr. Speaker, that also the chairman from the report of the COB that 1.02 billion has been appropriated in terms of budget absorption, which was about 65.9%, which was quite commendable. Mr. Speaker, on the other hand, there is a recurrent. There was a recurrent of 1 million, of which, Mr. Speaker, it was about 99%. Bearing in mind, if you compare comparatively 1.029 billion to 101 million in terms of recurrent, you will see, Mr. Speaker, that they need to have some more in terms of recurrent, maybe to about 120 or 150, so that they can be able to simultaneously move together in terms of implementation. And Mr. Speaker, the only reason, the only challenge that is, and I want the chair to get to understand what we are talking about, and he's still consulting there. Mr. Speaker, I want him to get it right. Mr. Speaker, I want to get the chairman to get it very right.
Order, Honorable.
Chairman, I want the chairman to get it very right, that he has alluded on the energy department. Mr. Speaker, we cannot be able to allow the department to keep on the flood rate working day out and day night. Even now, the Jabin flood rate are still working. What for? Is that not wastage? And now that he is requesting the budget committee to increase some more funds so they can be able to pay the petty bills. Mr. Speaker, is unheard of. I believe there's a problem in the nature of that department. They need, if they are not motivating their workers, they do motivation. So at those flood rates, if you go across from Kenton to Calampton, we have about 200 flood rates. If they are working day and night, Mr. Speaker, where do you think the funds to pay the Kenya Power will come from? Not unless we get back to our wake up from Masraba as a county and make sure, Mr. Speaker, that funds that are meant for public use, they are used in a prudent manner within the law. So, Mr. Speaker, I agree with him that if we have the challenges, we must focus on the wastage. The other issue, Mr. Speaker, is on the drainage system. Mr. Speaker, I agree that in order for us to have proper roads for more transport services to our people, Mr. Speaker, we need to have proper drainages. And I agree with him that in future we need to put some more funds for the drainages. Also bearing in mind, Mr. Speaker, that hiring of machines that has been alluded is also an aspect that should be considered based on our house, so that they can be able to supplement our in-house machine when we have the problem in terms of our road networks. We also feel, Mr. Speaker, I wish to support the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kongo Isaac, a member for Ajohi, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to thank the committee led by the chairman for this good report that they have brought to this house. I know it has taken a lot of time because when the state statement was requested was the last financial year. You can see that the information that the chair is giving was given back 2024 May. And I don't know, Honorable Speaker, through the House business, how we'll be fast-tracking some of these reports, because if you look at the information that has been given by the chair here, it is very crucial, and you would have considered when you are doing the financial year budget for this year. Now, it has taken a lot of time, and there are very serious and good recommendations, which we should have done in this financial year. But I want to say this, I want to bring 3 points, Honorable Speaker. Number one, I want to sincerely say that the department is trying and is doing some good work when it comes to procurement. It has got huge budget of $1 billion, but if you look how they have been doing it, sometimes I'm surprised that some departments that have got even 300 billion are unable to procure, but the department with $1 billion are able to procure almost 100%. The only thing that they need to do is to, and I know sometimes they are not able, and they need some guidance from the cabinet, is to make sure that they procure by December. Due to the seasons, we have rainy seasons that comes from March going forward to May, and you cannot do roads during the rainy seasons. They are doing good procurement, they are doing it within the financial year, and they have a huge budget. But if they are allowed, especially the road department, immediately we have passed the budget. By September, they start doing the procurement. By the 3 months, they are able to do the BQs, they are able to prepare the documents. By September to December, they are able to procure. So that most of the contractors can get into site by January, February, March, and they are able to do the roads when the seasons is okay. But that's notwithstanding, I can tell you that they are doing some good work in that department. They are trying. That is why you can see there was an absorption of 65%, despite the fact that they had a huge budget. The other issue that I want to bring out, and this is a more serious issue, is the issue of energy. And how I wish that the members, and more specifically the elected members who represent the ward who are here today, it has come to our attention that we have a very serious problem, and the chair has been able to bring this issue out clearly. The issue of bills. Honorable Speaker, the letter that has been tabled here today, one of the issues that the CEC Finance is requesting that the budget committee should allow them to use money outside budget, because that letter is actually telling us we allow the CCM Finance to do a requisition outside the budget. She is requesting 20 million for power, to pay a bill, an electricity bill for Kenya Power. And actually that is less than a half, because the bills due as of today is 56 million. They are operating a generator at the governor's office that is consuming 50,000 a day to run that office. So there is a very serious problem when it comes to energy. And Honorable Speaker, we have to agree with the members of this county assembly, because it is the members of this county assembly who, through the irreducible minimum, indicate that they need floodlights. And I want to agree with the members that they do so as a result of need, security need. And I was even asking myself, when the COB goes there and say that we should not give bursaries because it is not a function of the county government, security is not a function of the county government, public security, it's a function of the national government. And I also feel that some of these bills should be paid by the national government when it comes to the floodlights. Because when you put a mask there, for example, Nabogitao has put masks all over the Orokarau town, the headquarters. She's just providing security to the residents of the estates. Who is supposed to provide security? It's the national government. So there must be some agreement on how, because we are helping the national government to provide security, on how we deal with these bills. But that notwithstanding, Honorable Speaker, we need to agree with the elected members that it's high time we change. We don't do electrical masts or floodlights. We do the solar ones. The solar ones are a bit expensive, but then eventually, because of the bills, they are cheaper in the long term, when you look at the long term. So what we need to advise, and I was requesting the chairman through the technical advisory from the department. They advise the members on how much they should allocate going forward on floodlight so that they can do solar ones. They should be advised how much, because if you look at our current budget, the members are allocated according to the electrical ones, which are a bit cheaper, but the solar ones are a bit expensive. So we need some kind of BQs, some technical advice. Going forward, we put a policy, there will be no electrical floodlights. We do the solar ones, so that we can save on the bills. And then we also review the current one. Which one can we change? Because at the long term, if you look at how much money, I was being told, one ward, for example, Magumu, because we have that data, is consuming 350,000 per month. That is an average of 2 million, over 2 million, one ward. So you can see what is happening with the floodlights. So what do we do? If you look at 2013, the first regime, they did some other floodlight that use sodium lamps, those bulbs, which consume a lot of energy. So we also need to review currently what we have and how we can be able to lower that by bringing those bulbs that consume less. And then there is an issue that has been raised by Honorable Kashomba. If you move across Nyandarua County, there are so many floodlights that are malfunctioning. They are lighting during the day and also at 24 hours. You can imagine we are paying double. Because if you, the other day, Honorable Speaker, at your ward, I found another one at Geta Town that is doing during the day and the night. So you are paying double. So you also need to tell the department they need to enhance their people, their human resource. There are people who can be going around. Immediately we note that there is a floodlight that is manufactured. We ride there immediately. Because the more it stays lighting during the day and night, the more bills we are going to pay. So we also need to take caution and take responsibility as a department. And finally, Honorable Speaker, on the issues of that floodlights, it is also a high time that we do these things at per ward. I agree with the irreducible minimum. What we are going to do, we are not going to take the monies for the members that they essentially had. For example, if you had 34 million in your ward, we are not going to tell you that you are going to give us money for your floodlights within that 34 million. But we are going to allocate money in your ward. The money that you used to allocate as a lump sum. Because we are also noted through the department, there is some kind of responsibility there where you put some money in lump sum, they don't pay. So we are going to make sure we don't give like 50 million in a budget. We subdivide. We have been able to read those meters and we are able to know, for example, in our Joy ward, how much they consume. We put it per ward from the other sources, not from the irreducible minimum, but we factor it per ward. So that we also give the member of the county assembly a responsibility to make sure, because those floodlights have smart meters, they have paid for your, and that money will not be diverted for other purposes. Because if I have put 2 million for the floodlights of Wajoy, and I find one that is not working, I'll follow up with the department. Why have you not paid for the demi floodlights? So we also want to take the oversight level at a bit notch higher, so that every member of the county assembly becomes responsible. When you see a floodlight that is malfunctioning, it is working during the day and the night, you will be able to report and follow up because you know it is consuming your money. And when that money is depleted, itakatwa. Itakatwa is a Kiswahili name explaining that it will be disconnected. So we also want these members of this county assembly to take that responsibility. Finally, Honorable Speaker, on issue of machinery, we have noted that, Chairman, we are consuming 29.2 million for repair and maintenance. What is the cost of a new grader? That, what I want to bring out is, it is telling us that our machineries are growing old. And it's very soon we will be using a lot of money on repair. So it is also a time more, Chairman, we think of how we, being a bit in the budget, we buy some other new project, some other new machineries. We need to do some new graders, we need to do some new excavators, we need to add some lorries, because whatever we have now, actually when we started this program during the second regime, we had factored that the machinery will go for 3 years. They have outdone their purpose now. We had just agreed, because these are heavy machinery, that they are going to deplete within 3 years. So it is also high time, as at this regime, we start thinking on how we can factor some budget to put some new excavator, we can put some new lorries, we can put some new some new graders. For example, yesterday all the graders were lying idle there. They have issues, they have problems, they have breakdowns. So they also high time, because we are also wasting a lot of good time that we'll be doing, we'll be working, doing some repairs and some other works looking at those machinery. So, Honorable Speaker, I thank the committee. We are going to look at some of these resolutions, and I also invite the members to come up hardy so that we can be able to deal with some of these challenging issues. And I also want to agree with the chair. It is also very disappointing for the Kenya Power, and I agree totally with Sakanja. However, it may look, the governor for Nairobi, however, it may look some kind of notorious to go and dump some waste along the gates of offices of the Kenya Power. If they were also in Nyandarua, I would also have advised our governor to do the same. It is very irresponsible of you to go claiming debts and you also don't pay your debts. As we are speaking right now, they are requesting us, they have disconnected us. They are asking us to pay 56 million. They owe us 40 million. So if we were to balance, we are supposed to pay 16 million to them. They don't pay our rates. They don't pay relief. But they are very serious, because for them, they can come and disconnect. They think we cannot do anything. We can even bring down those payrolls and bring them down, because it is very irresponsible of a government to come and do such kind of irresponsible behavior to another institution of a government. So it is not good. We pay them, they pay us. And we have agreed with the CEC Finance, and we have even told we are going even to escalate it to the governor. We are going to pay that debt. But we also expect them, within this financial year before June, they bring that 40 million to become our OSR, so that we can get also money to do some other things, because they have taken our money when we pay their bills. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support the report.
Honorable Peter Denji, member for Rie. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving this chance to be able even to support the report from the committee. Mr. Speaker, as I support this report, I have a bit of concern in relationship to the surfacing vehicle, this one for the Kenya Power, the one that services the floodlight. Mr. Speaker, in the report, in the tabulation, I don't know whether it's me who doesn't know how it is named, its name, but Mr. Speaker, I have seen at least as if there is no information about that machine. Mr. Speaker, the movement of that machine, it also needs a lot to be desired. It is supposed to be watched, so that we can see if the movement of this lorry is even achievable in budget. Because sometimes, Mr. Speaker, you get to see that probably the machine goes to Daragwa, then it comes back to Olkarau, having consumed, and only when it has only repaired for about 2 floodlights. It is not economical, Mr. Speaker. This field should be watched keenly. Mr. Speaker, you realize that the Kenya Power installed the smart meters. When the floodlights get off, Mr. Speaker, you take a lot of time even to repair. And even at that time, you realize the county has already paid the bill and people are still enjoying blackout. Mr. Speaker, that one is a special request that there should be a very good policy between the county government and the Kenya Power. Mr. Speaker, I also want to support what our honorable member from Wanjohi has said about the old machines. Mr. Speaker, most of those people that are dealing with business, they have done the law of diminishing return. Once we are overusing machineries, there is a point which is parabolic. At the peak, you see that the servicing, the return, it's even now taking the curve downwards. This is how we are experiencing. Because once you take the machinery, it goes and works for about 2 days, then it has a breakdown. I don't know whether they have interest to repair the machine in a faster way. Mr. Speaker, like today, we have a breakdown of the grader. And what it requires, it's only an oil seal, which has been, for example, it was to be gotten from Nakuru. And Mr. Speaker, today as I was in need of the grader, I was told that the grader, the seal will come from Nairobi. Imagine for 2 days, because of a very cheap accessory of about probably less than 5,000, going to Nairobi and coming here, wasting a lot of time for that machinery, a grader. There should be a good management, Mr. Speaker, as I allude. Mr. Speaker, I've heard of members saying that the Kenya Power is even disconnecting the floodlight. Yes, it is their right. But Mr. Speaker, the honorable member has mentioned something very important, that those people never paid the wage. The bill should also be consolidated totally, so that they can meet the bill and we meet their bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Steve Murithi Matimu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think mine will be very brief because as Honorable Kongo was talking, he actually mentioned most of the things that I wanted to touch on. Mr. Speaker, there's an issue that we really focused, and I think our IBO chair did mention on these floodlights that are on during the day, and we really requested the department to ensure that they do a thorough checkup of the floodlights that are on during the day. It's my humble request that all of us in this honorable house, our work is oversight. And as we move around the wards, I would humbly request that the department might not be knowing which floodlight at a particular time is always on. So I would humbly request that if we are able to see a floodlight that is on during the day, let's notify the department, let's notify the committee, and we've taken up the matter upon ourselves because I'm a member of this committee to ensure that things run on smoothly. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, is we've really requested the department, and as Honorable Kongo has said, I believe that this time round, the department has really tried in matters to do with procurement, and this is an issue that we've really requested the department to ensure that procurement of our roads are done timely, they're done before the rains starts. And as Honorable Kongo has just mentioned, one thing that we've requested the department is immediately after passing the budget, let them prepare the BQs, let them issue the works, so that during these dry seasons, because we all know the weather patterns of our county, we ensure that we're able to do these roadworks in good time. If you look at the ones that are having the machinery program right now, they're able to do quality work, they're able to do very good work, because the weather is agreeing with the work that are going on. So it's a request that you've placed on the department, and they've promised that going forward, that's what they will be doing. The other thing is the policy, because we've come to, or it has come to our knowledge that once a road is done in a ward, one of the major problems that we face as a county is our roads get depleted because of lack of drainage in those roads. You find that the bushes around the roads grow to unbearable situation, whereby after some time, the drainage that is there is not able to take the floods or the flood water. The other one is you find that after a road is done, people living next to the road, they cover the drainage, and that makes it hard for the floods from, especially during the rainy season, it's not able to flow well. So these are again something else that we really requested the department to come up and bring up the policy that if you are found to have contravened the same, something will always be done. Something else that, and I think I thank the chair because he came up very strongly on this. And also the honorable member from Shamata is on wastage. And on our wastage, we really focus on two things: fuel and the flooders that are always on during the day. And I'm grateful that our deputy speaker, who is chairing the house today, is a member of the roads committee. And I know if he could be on this side, he could be also giving his sentiments on the same. But that said and done, one of the things that we really requested the department is to ensure that we minimize on the wastage, because you'll find sometimes our drivers taking a lorry all the way from Shamata to come and spend a night consuming that fuel that could have done several trips on our roads. So that's again something that I really thank the committee, because we really focused on the same, and also on the lights that are always on during the day. We've really requested the department, since one of the things that they were really complaining is a hoisting truck, which was procured, let it move around all wards, ensuring that the same is done. And the gadget that is required to regulate this electricity, the floodlights from only getting on during the night is not that expensive. So these are some of the things that we really requested the department to look into, and we believe that together as a house and together with as a committee, we're going to still ensure that we follow up and ensure that all these things are done. And with that, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Joyce Munya, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I want to thank the committee for this detailed report, which is very informative and which gives critical information. And for me, I really wanted just to have a comment, especially when we talk about machinery. And it's more of a request, because I'm seeing there are several things that are being mentioned currently about the machines being incurring a lot of cost on maintenance. There was also a mention when the chair was presenting about something about outsourcing. That's from the private companies. And of course, there is the issue of the procurement. For us to be able to ensure that we make a good decision on this matter, it would be very good that we have a cost-benefit analysis, so that where all the options that are being floated, they are able to be looked into in perspective and with the technocrats, so that as we make the decision on whether do we procure, do we outsource from the private companies, or do we even continue repairing this, so that we have documented information that can help this county to be able to be making the right decisions that will ensure that the meager resources that are available are utilized optimally. So for me, my request is that as we discuss this, as we go to the next levels of deciding what to do, that they are very well documented cost-benefit analysis that will guide us in the decisions that we are going to make. But I fully support the report. It's giving very important information that needs to be taken out, especially on the issues, the recommendations that have been passed that are going to assist this county. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ibrahim Maina Mwangi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, on onset, I would like to commend the work that has been done by the committee. Honorable Speaker, I've noted some of the challenges require the issue of management. And it's of my view, Chairman of the committee, that in future we should check on issue of decentralizing the management of these machines, especially we see whether we can have them managed in sub-county levels, so that you can imagine a grader breaks down in Magumu ward, then comes all the way to Orkalau for repair. That's why we are having some of this wastage. And because we have the technicians, why don't we deploy them to sub-counties or even in wards? Also putting in regards to the floodlights. This morning, I've just been called by a resident from Matopeni, that Matopeni floodlight is working 24 hours. And when I contacted the department, out of the schedule they have, they can only be able to go and regularize that floodlight probably on Friday, because some of these services are already done in one central place. Also, on the issue of technicians, you can imagine a technician has to come from Orkarau to go to the other wards to repair, even to assess. Why don't we have one technician per ward that is able to either be assessing, and because they are here and they are available, they can be able now to be giving information for regular repairs. Therefore, Chair, with this report, in fact, if we are able now to have a proper oversight, we are able to even to bring efficiency and ensure value of the money in our county on this machinery. And out of the recommendations, I do support, because like now the machines are aging. Why don't we have we continue replacing one by one as we continue? Thank you, and I call the mover.
Honorable Bobo Buru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I start thanking all the members who have contributed on the motion. And from the contribution, Mr. Speaker, it has been said that we ought to have brought the report there before. Some of the things would have been enshrined in the budget. Mr. Speaker, I promise we are going to have an outlook of this financial year that is just about to end again in timely. We are going to bring it timely in the, as a committee, so that it can help in the budgeting cycle. Mheshimiwa Gashoba from Jabini Kibiru mentioned about floodlights that are working during the day. I agree 100%. When a floodlight works during the day, what it consumed would have gone a day before. So that one we are going to try and make sure that as a committee we force, or rather we come up with strategies that are going to make sure that the department is seeing to it that floodlights are not working during the day. Mheshimiwa Kongo, the chair of budget, have mentioned something very substantive in where we start shifting from the green energy. Mr. Speaker, as I'm concluding, I know it is time for conclusion. Currently, we are having green energy being used. For instance, in my home today, I am using a 5 kVA driving solar energy powered. It is driving everything. So instead of closure of working in the department of the governor, we are urging the department to come up with a solar installation. 10 kVA installation in 5 million, which is enough to be driving the workings of the governor's headquarters daily, depending on our own. It is 5 million and they are spending 18 million in 1 year. So it is the high time this department, or rather the government, start arguing these things. Because if 5 kVA is able to drive a home, this installation down here of the governor's residence, the headquarters completely, can be driven by a 5 kVA solar installation and backup, which is currently costing 10 million at the walkover or walking towns. So even if it is procured and government supplied, it will cost 10 million. Currently, they are spending 18. So it is a time we start being proactive. As a department, we are going even to advise the department to start now coming up with strategies. If we are able to install those green energy installations, that is the solar driven and even the backup, like in this assembly, in the sub-county, we start with the 5 sub-counties, the governor himself, we are going to strictly drop this installation, which I know as a department, or rather as a committee, we are going to advise the department, and even the department, I'm sure will table that. That is a subject for another day. When we come to changing, he mentioned about changing the mercury driven. The mercury driven floodlight spends energy 3 times the halogen driven, but the halogen is costly. But if you do the cost analysis that have been mentioned by Mheshimiwa Joyce, it is better you introduce the halogen, even if it is electric driven, the lighting point or the bulb for mercury consumes 3 times the halogen driven, but the halogen is more costly. If you do the cost analysis, Mr. Speaker, I am certain that we are going to reduce this bill that is now heading to 200 million, which I think will not be economical for this county. Honorable Deji has mentioned about the machineries, the hoisting machine. I know the hoisting machine is working. It's only one. It is difficult for it to be able to solve the issues of electricity in the whole county. In future, we are going to add one. But he has said something very substantive. We be planning, prayer, or before we do the working. Anywhere, if a sub-county, if it is in Nyandarua sub-county, it solves all the issues of Nyandarua before it moves to Oljorok or Karau or the other. But when you go and fix one floodlight, then you rush to Kinago, fix another one, it is somehow becoming uneconomical. We have taken all this. We are going to write the recommendation on top of the same together with the motion, and we are going to advise accordingly. Finally, or rather, let me come to Joyce. Joyce has mentioned about the framework. I would bring to the information about this house that we did the cost analysis. We approved the framework working, in where we came up with all the machineries we would require, whereby, if I remember, we were saying that the working hour overall is 7,000 per hour weight rate. Of course, the framework is well explained. The framework is standing in as a stopgap measure when our machineries fails. We are not taking it directly. We are only taking it when our machineries fails. For instance, let us go to Unit 4 where I belong, Mr. Speaker. And then we have 3 rollers that are functional. We have the drum roller that is functional. We have a grader that is functional. Only the failure of the excavator stops everything. Instead of stopping all the other machineries, it is economical to outsource the excavator to be continuing to be doing the work, or for the continuation of the work as we bring in the service of one of our own. That was the thinking of the committee, which I'm sure it is perfectly working. And we came up, we strategized, we talked, we sat with the department, we approved the policy, and I'm certain that we have a framework that is applying that. Finally, whip has mentioned, the minority whip have mentioned a very good idea in where we can decentralize the services. When you said Awaka from Orokarau to Crampton, or rather the downsides of Kinago, and then he is expected back, and tomorrow he's sent back. For instance, you have mentioned Aphrodite is on working now, and only on Friday we are going to ascertain a repair. So for the next 72 hours, it is going to be on. It will have consumed more money than the fare for that worker to go down there. So in a nutshell, the Department of Energy is lacking the good working framework. Anywhere, if we are able to ascertain a worker or a practitioner who is based on the sub-county, it would have been easier. Because switching on off a floodlight is a click of a button. But now, if you force a person to come from Orokarau with a which machine, then you go there. When you are there, it is the starter, or rather the contactor that is not working. You are again forced to come to Orokarau. It is becoming obsolete. What he's suggesting is noble. I know in future the department can be thinking of decentralizing the working, not now to centrally in Orokarau, so that they can be able to be working. All this, that's it and done. We have collected the views of the members, the discussions and everything, and what we have had. We are now going to write a paper and forward it to the department so that they can start working on the same. Not forgetting, we are going to make sure that we are going to bring the outlook paper for this financial year earlier before, so that they can create impact during the budget making cycle. That's it and done, Mr. Speaker. I move the report.
I now put the question, which is that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Public Works, Roads, Transport, Housing and Energy on the departmental budget implementation status for financial year 2023-2024 as a report of the House, and the recommendations therein as the resolutions of the House. May those of a similar opinion say aye. Aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the business of this sitting as appearing on the main order paper and the supplementary order paper have been exhausted.
Honorable members, there being no other business to transact during this sitting, I now adjourn the House to Tuesday the 4th. Beg your pardon, honorable members, there being no other business to transact during this sitting, I now adjourn the House to Wednesday, 26th day of February 2025 at 2:30 p.m.